Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing Mortal Engines. This was directed by Christian Rivers and stars Hira Hilmer, Hugo Weaving, Robert Sheeran and Jay Hare. Mortal Engines is really about cities surviving on a desolate earth by moving around on giant wheels, attacking and devouring small towns to replenish their resources. It really looks at Hester Shaw, played by Hira Hilmer, a mysterious young woman who holds the key in taking down and stopping the giant London city on wheels from destroying the earth for their own personal means. She is joined by Tom Noteworthy, played by Robert Sheeran, and Anna Fang, played by Jahi, who is a known criminal who's wanted by the government. Ultimately, it's about these three banding together and trying to stop Thaddeus Valentine, man that's in charge of the giant London city on wheels. And he's played by Hugo Weaving. He's a man that will do anything to accomplish his goals and tread on anybody that gets in his way. This was a very interesting film. I'd seen the trailer a while ago and it was something that did interest me about it. I liked it was sort of like looking at the steampunk world in a way, and I kind of liked that. I hadn't seen a lot of stuff dealing with that sort of era and that sort of world, and I think this did a really, really great job. Visually it looks fantastic. I was really thoroughly enjoyed by the visuals. It was all done by Weta Studios, which is owned partly by Peter Jackson, that work out of New Zealand, and I think they do a really great job, and they bring this world to life, and the visual effects of the cities and certain things that take place within this film are really, really fantastic, and the designs of things look really, really great, and I've thoroughly enjoyed what I did see. It's filled with some interesting characters, and it's sort of a bleak but slightly colourful world. It sort of reminds me of Mad Max on wheels, I guess, as if Mad Max took place on giant cities. That's sort of what it really feels like. But I really did enjoy what I saw, and it was a very entertaining film. Most of the acting was solid. Hera Hillman, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, is an Icelandic actress that I haven't really seen before, and she plays Hester Shaw, the really strong and powerful sort of character. There's a real mystery to her. You don't quite know a lot about her to begin with, and you learn more as the film unfolds. But she's sort of a really great and interesting character. She has facial scars, which I really like because it shows that she's been through quite a bit, and they've never really done a lead character with scars in such a way. And I think she does a really fantastic job here, and I look forward to seeing more of her in other films, as well as hopefully some sequels to this film that they are talking about, because it is based on Phillip Reeves' book, and he's done a collection of those. It'll be very interesting to see how that unfolds, and if they do sequels and what they will look like as they go along. Hugo Weaving's good as usual, playing, unfortunately, yet again another villain, something he's slowly being typecast in, but he does it quite well. And this is the first time he's sort of working within New Zealand and a sort of Peter Jackson production since Lord of the Rings, and I think he's really solid here, and I like his performance, and I like what he's driven by, and he's sort of a character you can sort of feel for in a way, even though he does these really bad things. Robert Sheeran, I think, was solid here. I think he does a good job. He's an actor that I find pops up in quite a few things. He's very comical. First time I really saw him was in Misfits, which I think is probably his best work. He's very comical and very interesting in that sort of series, and I think he's solid here. Even though I liked him in this film, I thought I would have preferred seeing Brendan Thwaites playing this character. He's an actor that I think does kind of well in these sort of big budget, sort of entertaining blockbuster films, and I think he would have done a really great job in this, I feel, as well. And there's also this actress that, well, she's a musician turned actress, which I just found out, called Jahi. And she plays Anna Fang, and she's really great in this. One of the best characters, I think, and I really got behind her. She's this pilot, she's sort of a mysterious character. She's wanted by the government and a variety of people, and she's just really badass, and she just kicks ass in this film, and I really like her performance, and I like what she does, and I really like the character. I just wish there was a bit more of her in this film than there actually was, because I think she was a real standout and highlight for me in this film. I really like the world. I like getting swept up in different worlds and them creating a film that's a world builder. and seeing this world and what's transpiring and how people are surviving, and the designs of these giant movable cities, and small little maneuvering vehicles, and also the Anna Fang's one of them, but there's these sort of pilots that fly these really interesting ships in the sky, and I really thoroughly enjoyed that, and the look of that and the feel of that. And I sort of got swept up in it a little bit. I was very entertained and I enjoyed what I saw here. And I wanted to see more. I wanted to learn more about the world. I wanted to expand it much more. I wanted certain characters to get more screen time. There is a character called Striker who's sort of more machine than man, but he's his bounty hunter and he's a very interesting character. But I would have liked to see him much more in this film. And I think he would have served a much better purpose if they stretched out his appearance on screen than they did in the film. And I would have liked to have seen a bit more of him because I found him a very interesting character and well portrayed, and I liked the design and the look of him. I thought was quite well done as well. Now, even though I've said all the things I enjoyed and it was an entertaining film, it wasn't perfect. There was certain aspects I think they could have done a lot better with, and I just don't think some of it worked when they could have really done a lot more interesting things with particular characters or storylines. The biggest thing that I struggled with is there's a lot of exposition. There's scenes where Hester Shaw is telling her story, and I think that they told it too quickly. It's knowing who she is, they could have kept it a mystery a lot longer and developed it as the movie went along, or even developed it into sequels. But unfortunately, I do realise that in this day and age, when a film comes out and there's this idea for sequels, if that film doesn't do well, then they don't do the rest of the sequels. So they have to try and have a full story and end it before going into the next one, just in case they're not able to make any more films. And I do understand that, but I just felt with this character we could have spent a bit more time learning about them throughout the story, rather than all these exposition scenes where she explains everything in the first half an hour to an hour. And I just felt they could have done a lot better with that and taken their time a bit more rather than her explaining everything. Like, kept her a mystery much more than they did throughout the film. I found her a very strong and interesting character, and there are moments of weakness, and I guess that humanises her, but it just felt like they weren't quite sure of how strong to make or how vulnerable to make her, and I don't think they quite got that right, even though Hilmar does a really fantastic job. I just don't think they quite got that right. Striker. The Striker character, they didn't really do much with him. He was sort of a set up to be like a main villain, but they just didn't quite use him in the way that they could have. I found him a very interesting character, and they could have done a lot more with him and stretched him out through the film as well as the series if they were able to make more films. I found some characters kind of pointless and didn't serve much of a purpose, and there was just decisions made by characters that didn't sort of work for me or make sense at the time of the showing. There's, being a young teen novel and audience, there is this teen love story, and look, I don't go much on those teen love story sort of storylines because they're very cliched. They've been done 100 times, and it's ultimately always like a Romeo and Juliet type thing, where two people come from different worlds who come together and have to overcome things in order to be together and stay together. And that sort of deals with a little bit in this, and I just felt it was a bit schlocky, and they didn't quite need to go as much into detail with it as they did, and I was a bit disappointed with what they did actually do with that sort of storyline. But it started off quite well, and then sort of went away. Robert Sheehan, his character, Tom Noteworthy, it was kind of interesting. You don't really know a lot about him. He serves a bit of a point and purpose in the story, but I just don't know if they gave him enough depth. There's quite a number of characters I didn't give a lot to. Like Anna Fang, I really liked that character. We didn't know a lot about her, but she portrayed the character in such a fantastic way that you bought her as this character and as this pilot and this person beginning a rebellion against what's taking place. And I think there was enough of her to make it interesting enough for me to enjoy her character, and the Jahi performance that she gave was really, really fantastic. Final verdict. Look, if you like an entertaining film, you might enjoy this. If you like the young adult stuff, a lot of the teens will probably enjoy this sort of storyline and this sort of film. If you like something that's a bit different and looking at a different world, you may enjoy this as well. Whether this does really well, I'm not quite sure, and I don't know if it's going to hit a wider audience than it's aimed at. But I had fun here and I enjoyed myself. Like I said, it wasn't perfect and had its issues, but I just was able to go along the journey and I enjoyed what I did see. I'm going to give Mortal Engines 4 out of 5. Because I enjoyed what I saw and I was entertained, and that's all you really need for a movie like this. I would have liked to seen a lot more transpire than it did, and I would have seen a lot more depth to characters and trying to get characters right and had a storyline that carried on to another film. But other than that, I enjoyed it. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here or enjoy any of the other videos on my channel, please hit subscribe down the bottom. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.